Over the past few years, the topics of women being represented in games has been a very hot topic, along with women in the gaming industry as well. But there is always a narrative being pushed upon people about games, and one of those points is the sexualization of female characters is bad since it presents unrealistic standards for women and it affects their perception of themselves, namely body dissatisfaction, which is why they shy away from games, because it is yet another form of unrealistic beauty standards for women to compare themselves to. No matter what forms of media pop up, when we put images of very beautiful women in them, the discussion of body dissatisfaction is continuously brought up. When there have always been researchers that do think the concept exists, but it is quite a possibility that it is being blown out of proportion. The claim has also been made that the reason so many women do not play video games is because of how they perceive these characters. Now, I am not saying that these situations do not exist. Negative experiences exist in anything, whether it is a hobby or a job, a setting or with another person, but they do not exist in just gaming, but life in general. That is something that really needs to be brought into perspective. Chris Ferguson, a professor of psychology at Stenson University and Stenson Assistant Professor of Psychology, Danielle Lidner, recently co-authored a study that was published by the American Psychological Association. I did want to point out something that I do really appreciate when it comes to this. Both of the authors of this study have very different opinions on the topic, so there was definitely no bias in either direction, which is occasionally something that we do see in studies like this. You can always tell if it swings one way or on another, but the study did ask 100 women to play a Tomb Raider game. One was Tomb Raider Underworld, where Lara Croft is outfitted in the bikini bottom and form-fitting long-sleeved wetsuit top that was portrayed in a way to emphasize Lara's waist, hips, and breasts. And the other section of women were asked to play the 2013 Tomb Raider game, where she was wearing her, in my opinion, less attractive, more covered up outfit with the cargo pants and the tank top. And the reason for the study was whether sexualization of female characters in video games impacts women players' body dissatisfaction and aggression towards other women. In the current study, female players were randomly assigned to play either a more or less sexualized avatar in a Tomb Raider game. And what were their findings, you may ask? Well, if you are trying to push a very specific narrative on the topic, you should probably just dislike and click out of this video now, because you are probably not going to be happy. Many individuals are worried that the sexualization in video games may increase female players' body dissatisfaction. Contrary to expectations, results from the current study did not find that sexualization increased body dissatisfaction or aggression towards other women. Media influences from video games appear to be very, very minimal. Now, everything is marketed with the most ideal standards in mind, but you need to be able to separate realism from fiction, and that's what games are. Games are not meant to be a comparison to the real world. These are fictional characters in fictional worlds, and no one should be comparing themselves to what they see in a video game or a movie. The sexualized characters in games are not even supposed to be real, so how can you really make the argument that they have such an influence on how we view ourselves? When we cannot even find a good connection between real-world products advertised to us, such as makeup and clothing in the ideal settings, and how we actually end up viewing ourselves using those products. If a connection between sexualized characters in a video game and body dissatisfaction was proven to be real, I think the question that we should be asking ourselves at that point, or examining, is when did we lose the ability to separate fiction from reality, and how do we fix that? Anyway, this is a short video, but I did think that it would be a good study to bring up, and if you do enjoy these types of videos, where I delve into studies like this, make sure to give the video a like, and if you did not enjoy it, please feel free to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I do hope that you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys again in the next video really soon.